Hey guys, this is Ackley SamAttack4427 here with a very special video for all of you guys, and well, today's video is going to be a little different for once as, well, I decided to do a special editorial on my channel as it's practically something I've been thinking about doing for the past few months right about now. So with that being said, let's get right on to the main subject. So yeah, what would be a good way to talk about in this video? Oh yeah, now I remember. With the release of the newest animated feature film Lightyear officially out in theaters right about now, as it's a really good way to get Pixar back onto the big screen after a couple of years, it did get me into thinking Pixar has really came full circle up until this point.
And it's for good reason, because much like every animation studio out there, Pixar is still such a great studio by far, starting off with such incredible animated shorts to launching themselves to greater heights with the release of the first Toy Story movie, and since then has been producing tons of animated feature films each year or so. Sure, they do have some slip-ups every once in a while, and even a few hiccups in addition to that, but they're still such a recognizable animation studio that came out of Disney for the past few decades.
And good thing too, because Disney in recent years has been doing fine and even bringing in new and inventive stuff to keep on going, including when they officially jumped on board the streaming service bandwagon with the release of their own streaming service, Disney+.
And again, for good reason, because since the very beginning, Disney Plus has been putting out some really great content in their library that you can easily watch and enjoy. Some are absolutely incredible, others not so much, but nevertheless, whatever keeps Disney's own streaming service going, I'm sure anybody would be on board for it. Even with me, I've been using Disney Plus for some time and did talk about some of the content featured on there on my thoughts videos in the past, so it does show that there's a good amount to look at aside from anything like seeing their films on the big screen, just as a good way to kick back and relax in your own home.
Now I bet all of you guys are wondering, what does both Disney Plus and Pixar have to do with what I'm talking about in today's video? Well, I bring those two up because, believe it or not, there are 3 Pixar films that I did already review when they came out some time ago that, believe it or not, they were originally supposed to be released onto the big screen, but actually made their way onto Disney Plus instead.
The first one being Soul, released in 2020, the second being Luca, released in 2021, and the third one being Turning Red, released a few months ago here in 2022. Now it's no big surprise that if you have seen my thoughts videos, you'll know exactly on what I thought about them. So if you want a full detailed review from me, you can check all 3 of them out. But to make it short, swinging to the point, I might as well give out my short analysis on these 3 just to recap. Soul I thought was fantastic and truly a delight to witness. Luca I thought was marvelous and is very, very heartwarming. And finally, for Turning Red, I thought was a really incredible movie all the way. But I did state in all 3 of them that as much as I like all 3 of these films, I do think they would have been much better if they're released onto the big screen like what they were originally planned out since the very beginning.
And you know what? It's a good thing too, since I'm currently editing this video right but now, I think it's a good opportunity to actually give a shout out real quick. Ackley? Thanks, Ackley. And you know what? It's actually a good thing that he actually mentioned it because, well, when I'm up for seeing a movie on the big screen, I head on over to Crown City Cinemas, the very kind people I'm giving a shout out to for today's video.
For those who don't know, Crown City Cinemas is a movie theater in the Cortland County area, originally known as the Plaza 6 Movie Theater, that specializes in showing your favorite movies, whether it be some old classics or even majorly enough, new releases. And if you know me on my channel for a long time, seeing new releases on the big screen, which gives me more fuel and more videos to put on my channel, really gets me going. They've been going at it for a long time now, and they've provided everything from tickets to concessions, all at very nice and cheap prices.
Well, that's good enough for my wallet right about now.
Whether you be hitting up general admission as always, having a special event such as a birthday party you want to plan out, or booking a reservation to have a theater to yourself to see a movie, Crown City Cinemas can handle it all with ease, including a brand new option added in sensory-friendly showings for a select number of releases.
I always love going there all the time whenever I want to see a new movie on the big screen, and with what they have to offer, it's no wonder they're worth paying a visit.
And let's not forget, I've mentioned them several times in my videos, including a solo video that I did last year on that said movie theater. That's how great it is. And you should definitely plan your visit there as well, because this summer is packed with summer blockbusters right about now, both already out and planning to come out this season, including Top Gun Maverick, Thor Love and Thunder, Jurassic World Dominion, and within the subject of today's video, Disney and Pixar's newest animated feature, Lightyear, with plenty more already on the way.
So with that being said, if you are in the Cortland County area, then by all means, please pay Crown City Cinemas a visit for whatever movie you plan on going to see, or visit CrownCityCinemas.com to see what movie and show times you're up for and see how you can get tickets, gift cards, and plenty of others. Whichever you prefer, pay them a visit and let them know Ackley Tack TV sent you. Either way, you're guaranteed to have a good time seeing something on the big screen. Oh well, like I am in right now. Boy, I should really be on the big screen in a movie theater more often. Well, anyways, back to you, Ackley. Thanks, Ackley. Well, now that we got that out of the way, I think we might as well go ahead and get right on to the main topic in today's video. So with that being said, with all three Pixar films that I actually mentioned before that were originally supposed to be released onto the big screen, but instead made their way onto Disney+, it did leave me to ask the question, why is that?
Again, I did already state that I really enjoyed all three of these films, and even looking back, I still think they held up just fine. So I wanted to know, why did all three of these films ending up on Disney's well-known streaming service in recent years, even though they're made to be released onto the big screen as we thought they would?
Well, upon my research, rewatchings, and some speculations, I believe I came up with 4 major factors on why that might be. And believe it or not, it actually might give us a clue on where I'm going with this.
Now keep in mind, these are just what I think are the reasons on why all three of these films ending up this way. So if you have any thoughts on why that might be, I'd love to hear from you guys. By the way, why do I get the feeling that this is something True Blue is gonna steal by the time this video goes live? Well, from what I'm seeing, he has been stealing the words from other reviewers in his reviews on his personal Facebook page, so I should feel a little scared and a little angry at this point. Also, by the way, I am so sorry, True Blue, if you're watching this. Anyways, on to the video.
So with that being said, we shall start with factor number 1 in this case, COVID.
No shit!
Yeah, pretty obvious.
Now it's no big surprise that I can agree with a lot of people out there saying that 2020 was an absolutely terrible year, and that's for obvious reasons. With a massive amount of wildfires, giant killer bees, the rise of the Black Lives Matter movement following the assassination of George Floyd, resulting in the police all over America unleashing their white supremacy onto them, the chaos that happened with the year's presidential elections, which did end on a positive note, just to name a few. But probably the main culprit on why 2020 turned out to be a terrible year in its entirety would definitely have to be the COVID-19 pandemic, and you can clearly see why. You know what I'm talking about, tons of people getting infected with the virus, and we had to be stuck at our homes under lockdown, and we had to do work and school at home and couldn't get out. And whenever we do go out, we have to bring plenty of hand sanitizer and wear a mask in public to keep ourselves safe and hope it'll end the situation, but only got worse with more people getting sick, resulting in different variants caused by crazy conspiracy theorists that would rather die than do something safe and productive for once, such as wear a piece of cloth on their face.
Yeah, it's quite clear that it's a terrible time to be in, and you can clearly see why.
Not to mention, it was a terrible time for movies as because of the pandemic and even movie theaters closing down because of it, they ended up getting delayed by a ton, with a select number migrating to streaming services. Whatever the case may be, it was again a terrible time for movies, and we were disappointed by all of this. But luckily, VOD and Streaming managed to keep us occupied while doing so with plenty of content and releases that we wanted to see. Again, I mentioned a good number of movies that were supposed to be released onto the big screen that year, making their way to those two that I mentioned, while the others migrated to both 2021 and 2022 respectively, and that includes the 3 Pixar movies right here.
And interestingly enough, that will of course tie into factor number 2 on why that is, VOD and streaming having a massive boost.
Again, despite the fact that a good majority of movie theaters closed down because of the pandemic, it's a good thing too for entertainment because both video on demand and streaming services were now the only tools we can rely on for a good amount of entertainment alongside music and video games. I know with the whole on-demand craze starting out strong with the release of Trolls World Tour on demand, followed up by Scoob, but streaming services proved to be the king of that said battle, with the classic ones such as Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, Crunchyroll, and a few others, to the new additions added in like not just Disney Plus, but also HBO Max, Peacock, Paramount Plus, Apple TV Plus, again just to name a few. Even when movie theaters did reopen during that time, both Disney and Warner Brothers did experiment very well when they released their movies both on the big screen and on their streaming services at the same time, with both Paramount and Universal following suit for a short amount of time, while Sony had to rely on other streaming services to release their content.
Now, to be a little bit fair, that part I may actually go into in a separate video talking about my unpopular opinions and stuff, but I will say it is a good way to release a good amount and give you, well, 2 different options to go for.
So given to that said case, it makes sense on why Disney and Pixar have to release these 3 films onto Disney+. Sure, it was mainly on Disney's part, not Pixar, don't get me wrong, but it's still a clever backup plan to keep up with plenty of releases they got in between all 3 of these films.
And to tie in well on what exactly I'm talking about, the third factor seems to be quite an obvious one, but still quite valid. Disney always prioritized their schedule.
Now, seeing on how Disney is a big enough corporation with not just their merchandise, their theme parks, and even their studios they run, much like every other studio out there, they do have a simple and easy schedule to keep up with in order to make a good buck, both in theaters and on streaming. Sure, we still get their animated films as normal, which always turns out good, but nowadays, they're not always Disney's main focus.
Part of that may be is because, well, they put a lot of their time and money into their live-action films.
And it's quite clear on why that is. A good majority of them, such as the one and only Ivan, Flora and Ulysses, and Jungle Cruise, just to name a few, bringing in decent results, but still turned out spectacular to watch. While stuff like Artemis Fowl and Home Sweet Home Alone, not so much. Even with a good amount of the Disney live-action remakes, some turn out well, such as Jungle Book, Cinderella, and Cruella, for example, while others being duds entirely, like Beauty and the Beast, Lion King, Mulan, and whatever's going on with the Pinocchio remake coming up. Good freaking God! Regardless, even though we do want to see more of their animation side, they still put their focus on their live-action projects.
Let's not forget to mention the other studios they acquired that really kept themselves afloat.
I always look forward to something really incredible from Marvel Studios, and with the movies and shows coming out tying into the MCU, such as shows like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, WandaVision, Loki, and the recent shows like Moon Knight and Ms. Marvel, to the movies we even got like Shang-Chi, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, for example, they still put out such great stuff that kept us entertained and hooked all the way.
Same thing can be said when Disney repaired their relationship with Star Wars fans recently.
With shows such as Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, and the recent Obi-Wan Kenobi, they knew to keep true to what their fans love and enjoy while staying true to the movies after getting over the madness and controversy that happened with the sequel trilogy beforehand. Since then, we couldn't get enough of them and are hooked to our screens, realizing there's a ton of good shows on not just that said theme or idea, but also the entire Disney library that we simply can't miss.
So with what I've just said right about now, I think it's quite clear on why exactly that might be the case. Though I suppose I am still hoping for a live action project that I think would be a good fit for Disney. But needless to say, that is exactly the case and the good reason for those 3 Pixar films that I mentioned to be part of that said factor.
Again, mainly sticking with their schedule, and even on the animation side of things, all 3 of these films do have a good sense of being released in theaters for a good buck, but instead went to streaming not only to keep up with Disney's schedule, but also allow more variety since they have both platforms to work off of. Even during my viewings on all 3 of them, I could still imagine what would it be like if they were released in movie theaters just to get a whole different experience.
And it's a good thing that I actually mentioned this right about now, as believe it or not, that will of course tie into the 4th and final factor that will help answer my question on why that is, and that's mainly because, well, they look like they're made to be released onto the big screen.
Think about this for a second. When was there a time and place for you to look at a movie on streaming and you think to yourself that maybe they'll look great playing at a movie theater?
Well, the answer would be, well, tons of times that happen, so the same thing can't be said for all 3 Pixar films showcase all on here.
As much as all 3 of these films are worth the watch on Disney+, I still wonder to myself on what they'd be like if they did get released onto the big screen, because when you look at those 3 on the big screen, such as the incredible color scheme and heartwarming nature in both Soul and Luca, and even the cheesy and likable personality given to us in Turning Red, sure, they'd be different from what we've got, but still would be quite nice.
I can tell because based on my research, despite being released onto Disney Plus as given to us here in America, they did get theatrical releases in other countries. So if you knew someone who was seeing all 3 of these films on the big screen in different regions, they'll give you a very simple answer to your question.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about right here and now. These films look like they're made for the big screen, and you can easily picture it in your mind. And even with other movies released onto Disney Plus, like the recent Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers movie for example, as again, it has a nice feeling of being released onto the big screen, and it does make you wonder why that is. So what I'm getting at is that even though despite being released onto streaming as they did, you would still get a good strong feeling on what would it be like if they were released in theaters. In fact, Song of the South has been released into theaters a good amount of times over the years, but Disney never even released it onto DVD nor Blu-ray because of the massive amount of controversy it got when it first came out, but you still wonder what would it be like if they did, looking back on it.
So, yeah, I guess with all of those factors in place, I think you can clearly get the clear picture on, well, why that is. But if anything, despite what I have to say, it doesn't hurt my opinion on all 3 of these films by far.
I will still love all 3 of these Pixar films to this day because, much like all the other ones that came out before, such as Toy Story, Monsters Inc., The Incredibles, Finding Nemo, and plenty more, Soul, Luca, and Turning Red each have different stories and styles to go with, but still turn out great with fresh and inventive ideas to make them stand out. It may seem unlikely that Disney would have put them out onto the big screen anyways, given to what they've got going on currently, but I do hope someone will come along, let alone any movie theater out here in America, will give all 3 of these films the theatrical release they deserve. But until then, we'll leave that for the future to decide on that one. So if you feel like seeing them for yourself, then not to worry, they're currently available to stream on Disney Plus when you get the time. Or if you don't have Disney Plus but still a big fan of physical media like I am, or most likely both streaming and physical media as normal, you can pick up all 3 of these films on DVD and Blu-ray. Sure, it's different from what you expect, but I say they're still well worth it. I especially like in the Turning Red Blu-ray that I have, you'll still get the regular disc as normal, but you'll also get yourself a nice bonus disc inside. Now, that's quite clever and I love it a whole lot.
In the end, though, I'm actually really quite glad that I actually got to go through all 3 of these films again, just to, well, not only go over them again, but also see what goes on in my mind and see how it compares to the first time I've actually seen them on Disney Plus for the past 2 years by far. And when you really think about it, I say it really is good timing in order for me to do that because, yeah, these films by far are definitely well worth checking out for sure, whichever you prefer on, well, any different platform that you choose.
I know a lot of people are gonna react differently than what I thought of them back when I first saw them, but when you really get the basics down and fully understand why that is, the answer will become a whole lot more clearer than what you originally may think. And again, seeing on how Lightyear is perfect timing for Pixar to get themselves back into movie theaters since Onward, and even with plenty more of their films coming out next year and beyond, such as Elemental, chances are we are not only going to get ourselves treated to not just another animated feature film from these guys to help us stretch our legs before the big stuff with Disney animation comes around, but it's a good way to still always love the adorable desk lamp at the Pixar logo that's guaranteed to give us a pretty good time.
And I guess on that thought, that'll pretty much do exactly that. Thank you guys so much for watching this special editorial video that I've put together. And of course, as usual, if you have any constructive criticism and or advice on how I can improve my videos in the near future, then by all means go ahead and leave them down in the comment section below. And of course, as usual, if you want to ask me any questions or if you just want to book me for a con or event that'll be coming up sometime in the near future, then go ahead and send me an email to this email address, backley95@hotmail.com. And of course, as usual, if you want to keep up to date with me on updates, announcements, and new releases of my videos in the near future, as well as, of course, plenty of other stuff that I actually can bring into the mix for once, then go ahead and follow me on my social media sites like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and plenty of other social media sites that I have provided. All the links to them are down in the description box below. And of course, if you want to show your support for me and see some sneak peeks to videos that I got coming up in the near future, as well as some other awesome rewards that will help fit into your budget, then go ahead and support me on Patreon at patreon.com/AckleyTackTV. And of course, as usual, if you enjoyed today's video, then give it a massive thumbs up, as it really does help this channel out. And speaking of on my channel, if you want to see more videos like this coming up in the near future, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button, as well as turn on the notification bell and select all notifications, so that way you'll be notified once I upload a brand new video. So yeah, that'll pretty much do exactly that. Thank you guys so much for watching this latest video, and yeah, it does feel good to get this out for once and actually give out some really valid points to what I'm talking about, and hopefully I think it will actually help you out a ton just to see what goes down for all 3 of these films, because yeah, pretty much going over these 3 Pixar films again just for this editorial video, I think it's pretty much exactly what I need. So yeah, I guess if anything, it's pretty much what I can do. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. And now, if you excuse me, I'm gonna head on over to my movie theater right about now and go see Lightyear right about now. So yeah, I guess until then, thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Take care.